All right, the recording is started. This is Tuesday, June 16th, my sister's birthday. And this is the mayor manager meeting. And in the Zoom or in the Teams call is Linda Olson, Allison McKinney Brown, Jade Truscott Reed, Nathaniel Sierra, Stephanie Carlisle, and Shawn Lewis. And
good morning.
Good morning.
Speaking of birthdays and anniversary, we'll start with June 22nd, which is my parents' 60th? No, surely they're not. Maybe 59th anniversary.
Very cool.
Yeah. So the study session item will start with organized the solid waste recycling program, the citizen selection committee thereof, and we'll be talking about who has applied and trying to select those folks. The next one is the Citizen of the Year. Progress on the water and sewer fee update, and then review of downtown matters, DDA, downtown plan for council comment. And you may remember that was sent to council week before last, maybe. As soon as it went to the steering committee, we sent it to the council as well. The May financial review will also be at that meeting. Questions?
No. We need to do study sessions next week as well.
Oh, right. Yes.
And a conversation about when we would want to come back and face to face, or real time face-to-face meetings.
Mayor, would you like those all under mayor's choice or council member choice?
No, let's put it on an actual study session item. I mean, that's what they asked for last night. I mean, or I suggested we do it next week. Are you getting the, do you know, Shawn, if Krista is getting survey responses?
Yes, we've gotten some of those. But I took from last night that we needed to add, I wrote it down. What was the one
when we come back?
Oh, right.
Yeah, and let's just make that it's one of the, maybe that just needs to be a separate issue. It's not a topic we need to vote on or prioritize. It's something we need to talk about.
Okay. And so you'd like a survey on when to come back together?
No, continue to do the survey on the other topics. I'm just saying that we need, and Nathaniel, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we want to talk about what will be the process for us coming back and when.
Perfect.
So it's an agenda topic that doesn't need to be in that conversation about which ones are we prioritizing. We just need to decide what will be our criteria for coming back and
right.
set up and all of that.
I agree with you.
Okay. Do you think, I mean, I know one member really didn't want to know what other cities are doing, but I don't think that's exactly what she meant. But I do, what I worry most about is our staffing for something and how we can keep them safe, and how do we stay 6 feet apart. And maybe we just need to take a look at the council chambers to see how do we do that. And if we don't, where would we move us? Back into the community room for all of our meetings, or what would it be? Other places have moved their council meetings to really large rooms.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Well, it was also interesting to me that you said last night that some cities put up, the plexiglass shields between council members at a dais, did you say?
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah, because they couldn't get the spacing, and so they just put up plastic, whatever the fiberglass things there, at a cost, obviously, at a pretty good cost, it sounded like. But a couple of cities had public hearings that they needed to do, otherwise they can't move forward on something. So they needed to have meetings in person, and it's stressed out their systems and has cost a lot of money. Does the CARES Act reimburse for that kind of stuff?
Yes, it does.
Okay. So I don't know what we have to do.
Consider too is the capability to live stream and record and So those, if we're moving to a larger space, you know, those are also the things that we need to consider to get in place.
Yeah.
So.
Well, there's, I think anything that we can put out there in terms of what are the issues would be helpful on Monday next week. And we won't have it all perfectly figured out of what the challenges will be, but I don't want you to have to do a lot of very quick turnaround on this either. I mean, we do have a week after that we're off, which is nice. It gives a little bit more space to our timing of meetings. And maybe we just kind of continue to figure it out and have I don't know.
Well, we can be ready with some ideas, probably just not the final cost estimates. And
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to move on to July 6th?
Yes.
July 6th, we have 2 study session items, the financial audit of 2019 and the update regarding Tri-Cities homelessness. And so we got information from DU for that council memo yesterday, so we'll be getting that uploaded shortly. On consent agenda.
I just forward you the email of the no cost extension again. That just as an FYI, I'm afraid we're going to lose sight of it. We don't have to do anything, but Devin does.
Oh, okay.
And I just don't want to lose sight of that and make sure that it keeps moving along because they are going to need it to keep moving along.
Right. Okay, I'll get in touch with Devin today on that. We also, on consent, have 2 items: professional services renewal agreement for renewal of water rights engineering support services, and a professional services agreement renewal water rights legal support services. And both of those passed unanimously the first time. We've got the IGA amendment for the Inglewood Trolley cost sharing. Okay, so that second reading, that was unanimous too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then the lodger's tax, I believe, was also unanimous.
Yes, it was.
And the DDA was 5-2, so it'll be for second reading.
Correct.
And then let's see. Okay, so we'll have the new appointments recognized by City Council at this meeting.
And Jackie asked that I kind of speak with you all today just to see what you had in mind. And a lot of that would sort of depend on if we are back in person. In the past, we've had where they show up to the meeting, we give them a certificate, we acknowledge the appointment. But if we're not in person, then we wanted to try to understand how you want that to look, or if we just need to postpone the actual recognition piece of it, if we want to do it a little bit differently.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to be doing anything similar to what we used to do. And I'm not sure. I mean, we have very few that show up. Well, not very few, but we do have people that show up when it is in person. Can you think of any other way to acknowledge other than to read off, who's in what?
We've been trying to think about if there's a different way to just sort of mix it up so we could kind of generate.
You fell off there, Stephanie.
Could we acknowledge them through social media? Through the website?
Yeah, that's a great idea. We obviously wouldn't probably have a photo or anything, but we could certainly do a post about that, or a post for each board, maybe.
I missed that. Could you repeat it, please?
I just wondered whether or not we can acknowledge through social media, through the website, just
Yeah.
the new appointments.
Yep, I think that's a great idea.
I do too. I think that really is a great idea, and really celebrate them and thank them for stepping up to be on these boards. That's a great way to do it.
Actually, just as a side note, I kind of wonder why we don't have a group picture. I know it's within the times. It probably isn't the best time, but like at year end, if we can before there's a reappointment or a reshuffle of the boards, that maybe that we do take a group picture. This year may not be the best year to start it, but I'm just saying, potentially go down that route.
I agree with that. We don't do a great job just in general at taking photos. So yeah, we'll do that if that's all right with you, Stephanie. I think it'll be a nice way to kind of just promote each board and tell people what it does and say,
Yes.
welcome to the new members. So it actually might be good publicity for the boards and commissions themselves.
Definitely so. So, okay, so we'll start coordinating that. But are we saying that then that would be in place of an in-person certificate type of thing? We just want to make sure we're prepared and ready to go for whichever. I mean, we don't know if we'll be back on July 6th, so that discussion is yet to be had. So,
Yeah, well, certificates can be sent out to them, right?
yes, would you like to continue with the certificates? And
Let's send certificates out because I
Okay.
don't think we should be handing anything to anybody anyway.
okay, sounds good.
I think we do big, celebration that way. I don't know if we're going to be back on the 6th. I was thinking a little bit, but we probably need a week or two to figure this out.
Yes.
But it's council's pleasure, whichever we do. But let's set us up to be able to do it well virtually so that we know how to do it in person. So that won't be a problem. But let's set it up so at least we know how to do it virtually as well. So we've got options.
Okay.
Very good. So let's see. Is that where, Jade, are you putting your cursor where we're at? Yes.
I am.
Thank you. So July 13th. Right now we just have the city center redevelopment update.
And after Monday night, we may have a topic from the study sessions to move in there.
For sure. July 20th, we actually don't have an item, any items on that one yet. July 27th, financial review for June, executive session for city manager, city attorney. That's assuming we're back in person. And then August 10th, we have the proposed 2021 operating and capital budget. And yeah, just a few other additional items. The 24th of August, financial review for July, joint session, and moving into September, we just have the financial reviews and a joint session with Planning and Zoning Commission in September 21st.
And I believe that was just a placeholder date that we.
Right.
Shawn, how long do you expect that redevelopment update to go? The 13th?
Did they put anything in that yet, Jade, in terms of their presentation?
Let me
link?
go back and double check. This may have been entered prior to our system where we had them submit time. So let me double check.
Is that time sensitive?
It could be. We can find that out though. That's
Okay.
another a question that we have them answer in advance when they fill out the new form to submit for this table that you're seeing here. So, but as Jade said, we think that they might have submitted this before we started this process. So in the future, we'll be able to answer your questions on the spot on this.
Okay. Well, we may be done with figuring out the rest because so much is fluid yet, right?
Right.
I'm currently not seeing anything, just to keep everybody updated, but I'll keep looking. If I do see something by the end of the meeting, I'll let you know.
But that's July 13th. We can definitely have information for you on those two questions. Is there something that you guys have in mind for the 13th? Oh, are you looking for places to put the police reform?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, Member Stone, brought up a good thing about a panel last night, and I think he was wanting our council to probably do that. And that's fine if we do have some time that night to do that. I also would love to see us do a town hall that has more citizen engagement as well. Of course, citizens can watch our meetings, but if we did some kind of a push out with the entire community to get their input. But I think becoming more informed on new ways of thinking about policing and public health and safety is good for us to do.
Yeah.
We all have a very old model of policing in our minds, probably from how we grew up. Sorry, Othaniel, I cut you off.
No, I was cutting you off. I was going to say, I think it would be good to have the panel prior to the town hall, just so I think there's just a lot of information out there on what this can look like, and in order for people to kind of have a baseline in the community about what potential reform may look like would be good. So
I think that's great. So it looks like we have, the 13th, is that too soon to do that? In terms of,
I was thinking it was a little late, but.
Yeah, I do.
Also thinking about, we got the holiday coming up as well. So,
Oh, yeah.
So it would have to go in July 6th otherwise.
But that's the
regular meeting.
Yeah, that's true.
So the 4th falls on
The 4th does fall on a Saturday.
Othaniel, we can't hear you, but it doesn't look like you're muted.
You're kind of going in and out when you move your head.
Bye.
Now we heard you.
So what did you say about the 4th falling on the Saturday? Oh, you're changing your...
Yeah, I'm going to go grab a headphone.
You're fine now.
Trying to get a sense of timing.
Jade, can you roll up a little bit? Earlier? Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
So the next study session would be, unfortunately, July 13th.
Right. Well, Mayor, staff is certainly willing to do, a special meeting too, that would be solely this topic. And, maybe we could promote something like that as more of a town hall.
Well, I think I'm willing to do a second night that is an educational night for us, and we invite folks to listen in, and then we follow up with the town hall. Maybe it's a 2-part series. Maybe its first part is council really gets up to speed with some of the experts in the field and thinking what are the innovative new ways of thinking, and then we follow up with, is that, Othaniel, what you're thinking of? Then follow up with the town hall on another point?
Yeah, that would be the way that I would prefer to structure it.
We could also do, at the end of the presentation and after council has asked some questions, we could also do a Q&A if we were doing it via Zoom, where it would be kind of a facilitated, people send in questions and we can read them out, that sort of thing.
Yeah, that's how the town halls, I think, have been working for a lot of the metro area for other things. We just haven't done a town hall. Don't we have a new to do that too?
I'm sorry?
Do we have a new platform to do that, or?
Well, actually, we could do it over Teams, but we could just have an email address that people could send it to, and I could, work with another department and get people that are monitoring that and, giving us questions for you to read or for staff to read, either one. That's just a suggestion, not married to the idea.
Daniel, what were you saying?
I'm just looking in terms of the timing. I would think that it'd be more prudent for us to do it the week of the 29th, the week that we actually have the the initial panel would be the week of the 29th. I think people are more likely to take vacation, and people take vacation this year the week following the 4th. So, and I'm thinking it probably would have to be early that week, either the 30th or the 1st.
Ooh, I think that's way too late. I think we've got to move on it. You think the 13th? People often take.
Oh no, 30th. I said the 30th.
30th of June.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
No, yeah, we're not pushing it.
I had my calendar open to July trying to figure this out. So, okay, so say that again. I'm sorry. I was in a headspace that wasn't June.
So I'm thinking that in terms of the panel, it would be like 2 weeks from today. It would be the week of the 29th, the week that we have the 5th Monday. I think it'd be prudent for us to have it during either the 29th, 30th, or the 1st.
Yeah, so maybe we need to get a doodle out to our council to see if anybody's planning to go out of town or anything. I on the 29th, because that is traditionally where we've told people take your time.
So yeah, it's worth a shot. And then I guess Shawn, are there any concerns? I'm not sure who we plan on reaching out as part of this panel. But I'm guessing the next step is with you reaching out to find out their scheduling.
Yeah, I did take some notes last night if we wanted to do the panel. That 2 to 3 experts on criminal justice reform, the chief and Judge Jefferson as panelists. But yes, we would have to check with those folks for sure.
But also, I thought there was going to be outside experts as well that were going to be part of this panel.
Yeah, the 2 to 3 experts for criminal justice reform would the yeah.
Okay, perfect. I misunderstood that.
And Mayor, you said that John had an idea of a person or two on that?
Yeah, I think he has. I mean, he's right that this metro area particularly has some really high-level writers, authors, and thinkers about criminal justice reform. And it's not, but we have to get some people who speak specifically to policing as well in the context of that. So I think we probably should just figure out a list of people. Maybe tonight when we're on this call, we will find out a little bit more too. It's tonight, is it? Yeah. I totally forgot about that. So Othaniel and the rest of you, the chief and city manager and myself are on a metro-wide call with other chiefs and managers and mayors to talk about policing and metro-wide collaborative changes of practices or whatever, and opening the dialogue.
Okay, perfect.
The Metro Mayor's Caucus is the one who's putting it together. So I think John has some good ideas of people, and maybe we ask the chief, who do you also know? There's got to be some different voices he's hearing.
We can do that. Well, so
I like the idea of doing the 30th rather than the 29th, just so we stay up at night. But
I agree.
Could we do a quick doodle of when we're willing to do this? I think you're right, Othaniel, that it would be great if we could do it in June.
Yeah, we can do that today. And then we can also kind of follow up with some of the leads that we've had and ideas we've had. You Mayor, can present this to, or if you want us to, present it on the 22nd.
Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah, that sounds great. I think that's very doable and could be a really good session.
Yeah. Okie doke. Now what's next?
Council request. Let's see, where are my notes?
I have a request for the way the agenda is put out, and it might be just a shift in what happened with the new system, but when I was reading off last night on each one of the items, so for instance, like, 11A1, there is there is no staff person on that saying who's there. I just knew from people who popped up in their faces who's probably presenting. But if that could be in the actual agenda again, it's probably a change with the use of the new system. So do you know what I mean? Usually
Yes,
it
the
says
presenter
presenting is,
Mhm.
yeah, the staff presenting is not listed, and it wasn't throughout the entire agenda last night.
Oh, sorry about that.
It's okay. I'm sure it's something with the new system.
Yes, we definitely want you to have that info. I had a council request, the two that Councilmember Anderson did, and then one, of course, was echoed by Councilmember Russell, but the discussion of reducing or modifying the emergency order. And I know Allison and I have talked a little bit about that or exchanged some emails. And then, of course, we've got the topic on the agenda now. When can we go back to meeting? So I think that one's taken care of. And then Quessa had the request of how many STRs. I think we got that answered, but he also wanted to see the letter that went out. So we'll get you guys a copy of that this week.
That sounds good.
And that's all that I had. Although actually, this was for the police reform, but the only thing that I had added to that, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, but was that public health initiatives. Cheryl also
Yeah.
asked for restorative justice. We do have that one on the list, I found.
Yeah,
And
it's already
the
in the
public health initiatives, though, I think, in addition to the co-responders, I think probably something a little more medical as opposed to mental health. Do you think? I can touch base with her on that.
I was going to ask what falls under that umbrella.
Yeah.
Well, I
I'll
would think
give her-
it's largely mental health too. Because we really don't have I mean, that's part of the homeless stuff that we've been working on too. We don't fully know what all of our mental health and addiction oriented things are. I mean, the death in Atlanta last week had to do with someone who has probably addiction issues, and when we use force on someone who's struggling with addiction, it just seems crazy. So how are we, our co-responders are working with that, but they're not always around.
Right. I think we'll have some ideas around that for sure. But that was the only addition that I had to that list. But did anybody else get any other council requests? Allison, Stephanie?
Yes.
Okay.
The council's been asking for a while, and Cheryl brought it up again last night, that we need to revisit the boards and commissions handbook. We had a discussion. Yeah. There was discussion when it was adopted that everyone understood it was a first step and that it was going to need to be updated and clarified after it had been applied for a year, and we found places that it needed those updates. So that needs to go back on the agenda. We need to be looking at that. And I think right at the moment, there are 5 or 6 issues of concern that council's brought up over the last couple of months on that.
So that actually is a topic for a study session, but my hunch is that everybody would say that's a priority, but I could be wrong. We certainly have to get it figured out before the next round.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and the issue with it is it's not something we can just bring to a study session like the first week of October. It's the city council is going to want to look at it and discuss it and bring it back. And the last time it came back 11 times. So if it only came back twice this time before we were ready to apply it to the next people, I think the latest we could be bringing this, the latest on the timeline to get this to the council twice and then make it available to people before they applied to the next round would be August.
Okay, why don't we do this? Can we add it to the rankings and just put it there with no ranking on our list of topics that we talk about next week? It might be that we'll want to slip that into July 13th as a beginning discussion.
That'll also identify with council if there are specific issues that we haven't caught yet, that we've heard come up, that then on the front end, we'll be able to explore that and have solutions when we actually bring the handbook back for revision. So I think that it'll generate the conversation if there's something else that council kind of wants to address that we haven't already caught.
Sounds good.
Great. Anything else from anyone?
Allison, did you have any others?
No, that was the one that stood out to me.
Thank you. Forgot that one. I'm looking through my notes. I'm just trying to find, it seemed like there was something else, but it might not have been. Might have just been an idea I had for something. I don't see it though.
Mayor, I do am realizing that I need to get the strategic plan plugged back in now that we've prioritized, so we can get you a final draft.
Okay.
Cool. So I'll work with the clerk's office and find a good date for that.
Okay. Sounds good. Are we finished then, do you think?
I believe so.
All right. The time is now 9:03 and the mayor manager meeting is adjourned. Have a good week, everybody.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
You
Thank you,
too.
everyone. Bye-bye.